My name is Greg Turner. I'm a trainer, coach, and consultant in the field of radiology. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to college there too, at Emory University in Decatur. That's where I got my start, at Emory University Hospital in the radiology department. I'd been there for several years, and I was exposed to several different specializations, including ER, OR, diagnostics, angiography, CT, a number of other special modalities. But while I was there, I realized that there's a very large gap between this type of environment where there were trained radiologic technologists and physicians' offices, which included medical assistants, nurses, and doctors. It was there that I learned that they were asked to perform a number of x-rays, but had never been formally trained or educated on x-ray techniques or positioning. I saw an opportunity to help people to better understand x-rays. When I interviewed these people, they told me that x-rays looked easy, but in fact, there was so much information that it was very difficult to bring it all together and take effective x-rays. On top of that, there were courses that were available to train these folks, but they were excruciatingly boring, and it was very difficult to connect the information with how to apply it in the x-ray department. I understood a lot of this simply because when I was younger, I had a difficult time in connecting information in school to my regular life. How did it apply? I struggled, and soon my grades plummeted. It went on into high school. By the time I was a sophomore, everything was starting to look bleak to me. I got familiar with this letter more than once. And in fact, when I got older, I was eventually kicked out of my first college. I didn't know where to go except for the local grocery store where I bagged groceries and even sold shoes. I needed a miracle, and soon enough, a miracle did come. I was referred to a psychologist who was familiar with people who learned like I did, or I guess didn't learn on a regular basis. She taught me the principle of establishing a firm foundation with each and every class that I took. In other words, you need a firm foundation and then building blocks that stack upon one another so that you can use all the information in basic principles as they apply to whatever you're studying. In other words, when I would look at a course, I would tend to look at it like this, like the back of a switch of a network panel. I was intimidated and fearful of evaluating the course. I tended to look at everything globally, but what I really needed to do is to start at the beginning and stack each and every piece of information upon itself. And eventually, everything would seem to be compartmentalized, where I could retrieve that information and look at it in an orderly fashion. It was a lot like rock climbing. You can't get to the top of a mountain without taking each and every rock and pulling yourself up slowly until you can eventually reach the summit, which is where you'll find success. So, keeping all of this in mind, I hit the books, and I took a totally different strategy towards my studies. And lo and behold, I eventually achieved those goals that I was seeking after. There was light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, I opened up my own company, and ironically, I was training people for a living. And I decided to apply those very same principles in my seminars and teachings. I've helped hundreds of people realize their success in learning x-rays in their various environments, including orthopedics, podiatry, surgery centers, and the like. And many of them have realized success and grown very confident in their radiology departments. And you can too, so join us. Let us train your team of professionals so that you can realize a successful radiology department in your offices.